Hey guys, everyone, thank you for coming. The independent toy panel. We got From the Realm, we got Brutal Realm, we got the Oddfrog crew. We got the Uru crew, right? And then we got a little bit of everybody. So man, this is really dope to actually see, all these different creatives come together with their ideas and I'm just honored to be, the one that's going to help bring these into fruition. Pass along some knowledge, pass along the connections, and just build not necessarily, not only just the empire, but a family. Like, we're all creators and everything, and giving the community a variety of things, of offers that fill that collector itch, and bring some new ideas to the table. Some new products to the table. So, I'm going to stop talking for a bit. And let these guys, introduce themselves and what they have going on.
Let's start down there. Well, guys, I'm Carlos. For the ones know me on Instagram, Badass Reviews. Me and my friend JP, we have this new project called From the Realm. It's going to be pretty much the idea is to go and give you guys creatures from different realms, okay? So you gonna have the opportunity to create your ultimate iteration of any character or creature from different realms. Wave 1 is gonna be, or volume 1, as we call it, is gonna be from the shadows. So we're gonna tackle actual creatures from the shadow, like vampires, demons, and stuff like that. So it's gonna be a very articulated action figure. As you see, like the two basic ones are gonna be these two right here, the more like Victorian human type, kind of like Castlevania style, and this one right here more like Nosferatu style. So the idea is offering you guys these two options, and with them give you some expansion packs or accessory packs that you can add on to these ones. So as a collector, I always feel for like, okay, if I get into a new toy line, I'm always worried about, oh, I need to buy 12 action figures, 16 action figures. With this toy line, what we want to achieve is like, okay, you have two main options. Out of those two main options, you're gonna have the opportunity with the expansion packs or the accessory packs and the Kickstarter to go over them and build your own creation. Okay, so they're gonna have soft goods. We have the Stroh family behind the soft goods. These are the first prototypes on the soft goods. We have Noah Pratt doing the Paint Masters. Such a talented guy, super humble. I think he was the best decision to have behind us on the prototypes. I mean, he's such a great artist. We have JP, which is the one in charge of creating all the characters. We have Eric Sosa, who works with Korobukiya, and he's having some projects right now with Disney over the sculpting part. And we have Sebadon on the engineering part. So pretty much we have a small team, but I think it's a strong team. I'm just like the driver, just kidding. But pretty much, or the bodyguard, right? Like, so pretty much that's what it is. We're gonna offer him during the Kickstarter, we're gonna offer him, of course, some tiers and unlocks, mainly like this guy right here. Right now I don't have the wings right here, but he has some wings. We call him the Bad Beast. It's gonna reuse some of the parts that we have from the original ones, right? So the lower body, the upper legs, things like that, you wanna be able to interchange. And this one right here comes with wings. But those wings also, you're gonna be able to place on these regular characters. That's why we have this one right here with the folded wings. We want to make things very simple, very basic for you guys. So pretty much the idea with this one is like, you're gonna be able to remove the head, and this is gonna be kind of like a rubber type of material. So you don't need to worry about having like over engineering stuff. You just pop the head out, put the wings, the folded wings, and you have the folded wings already. The regular wings that comes with this one that you can put on this one right here, this was that early prototype. So what we're doing right now, because this figure is gonna have like full articulation, it's gonna have like butterfly joints. It's a really skinny figure, right? So now we're re-engineering this by putting a one peg in between with kind of like a backpack type of thing here, with one peg that comes with two pegs on the side so you can put the wings. The wings that you plug here are fully articulated, like an arm, same as the arm of the figures. So that's the idea behind this, so we don't overcomplicate things for you guys. We're gonna offer also I would say the basic offering is gonna be the naked vampires, right? During the Kickstarter. So you have the opportunity, if you have a Mezco figure, you have any other figure, you can put the soft goods on them. Or you can go on AliExpress or whatever, you have soft goods for 1/12 scale action figures, you can put them on them. So it's pretty much that. Articulation, me personally, I love toy photography, right? And now is something that a lot of people are doing, enjoying your action figures, taking pictures everywhere, right? So we want to have a very possible figure for toy photography, right? So we're planning on doing this is a really early sample on the articulation. So we're gonna have like a ball joint on the bottom, on the waist. We're gonna have a hinge here that crunch a lot with another ball joint on the top. We're gonna have also butterfly joints here. We're gonna have this double ball joint on the neck, or dumbbell that people said, that you can go just with the neck, you can achieve this. You can go with attitudes like that and that without even the head that comes in a hinge and a ball joint at the end. So we're gonna have double joints on the elbows, bicep swivels, everything pinless. So it's pretty much what we want to achieve. And we're gonna give you, during all these Kickstarter, we're gonna give you all the stretch goals with different sets of heads from classic vampires that you can see on movies, inspired them, that you can see on movies, comic books, and stuff like that. So pretty much that's what it is. We're planning also, as you see, this is just vampires, but we have some demon type of characters that are gonna share these bodies. So you're gonna be able to create your own demonized character also during the Kickstarter.
Whole new take on classic monsters. Pretty cool.
Thank you so much.
Pretty dope.
Amazing stuff. How am I going to follow that up?
Keep it rolling.
We're Brutal Realm. I don't know if anyone's heard of us. Thankfully, a lot of people know. We're not from the realm, but we're a Brutal Realm.
I mean, these guys had one of the most successful Kickstarters of the year. You know, it wasn't an easy feat, but these guys did it, and building their community, building their buzz. Really good guys, man. So
it's mostly due to Bob's name giving us credibility. Thankfully, so many people backed us. We went way past all of our goals. We're right about to cut steel and start producing these figures. So yeah, this is our first factory prototype from the factory to show off that the redesign. So what happens is, what happened was, this is our prototype that we designed on our end. What happens is you send those files to China. They make sure that the files are able to be the same articulation, your same ideas are able to work within the molds. Because when they pump plastic through it, things have to change in how they actually create the mold for it and what they can do with plastic as opposed to resin. So there's different types of plastic used and things of that nature. So they redesigned it. And we also wanted to see if they were able to get the level of paint that we want, and they've been able to do both. And so now we're about to cut steel. We're getting in 2 more test samples that thankfully are coming right after the convention's over.
it was supposed to be here.
It's supposed to be here, but you know.
Our teleporting machine isn't working.
And they would have been too awesome. They would have blown everyone away. So we don't want that to happen. We want other people to shine, which we can't be from the realm or Oddfrog. But yeah, so we're excited to finally start producing these figures. Hopefully within the next month, we'll just start cutting steel, start doing the figures. We've got box art that we're showing. We're finishing the factory renders for the rest of our figures. This was showing our newest factory ready render for Grimskull, our big bad guy. So once again, a lot of the renders on our Kickstarter were based off of old articulation, based off of old designs. So we're going through the list, catching it up to our newest body, towards tolerances for the factory and making it ready to be actually produced. So that's what Grimskull is going to look like. We're going to send that to our renderer, and we're going to pump out cool little photos about how the figures look. Soon, hopefully next week, we'll have cool looking Grimskull photos. We've got theme music we're working on now as well.
Sam Marshall, just
if you're ever on Instagram and you're looking for free to play music, type in Sam Marshall. We normally have his music for all of our videos, but we took the chance and we reached out to him and asked if he could actually create a theme song for us. And he was able to. I should have brought my little speaker, but my helper over here might need to help me play the song. Yeah, you. This is my co-owner's daughter, Ava. Everyone give it Ava. Let's see if we can. Yeah, play it as loud as you can.
bless you.
The brutal round score. Yeah, the brutal round score.
Ooh.
It's almost over. Don't worry.
Now just imagine yourself with the action figures, and of course we all do it, and doing some toy photography.
Doing some
right? You're
heroic
sitting here,
shit, right?
You're playing with your dioramas, and you're playing this, and you're jamming out.
And that's just the 1 minute snippet. He's actually working on.
So the old man don't know how to work the computer. The computer box. The computer box. Turn off.
So listen, guys, I'm almost 50. Okay, that black don't crack. I look great for my age. Give me a break. All right. But yeah. So we're doing theme music because when you have the figures, we're giving you a part of this world with the action figures. But if you really want to enjoy a world, you need to create something more. So we're working on comic books, we're working on card games, we're working on board games, animation maybe. The sky's the limit, the limit's the sky. So once we get these figures in your hand and we make you all happy by delivering on our promise, expect more to come from us.
Digital radio. Yo, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's okay. No worries. So if I stumble and fumble, this is our first time. Some of you may know us, some of you may not. My name is Eddie Hermosillo. I'm co-founder and president of Oddfrog Entertainment, and we're here to introduce you to Oddfrog Entertainment. So we're along with, of course, my business partner Kelly Green. We'll get into his name again. So we're developing all sorts of stuff, conglomerate of things. One of our inaugural products is the 112 scale Bandito. It's a brand we developed a brand called the 112 Street Chop Shop, and it's a high-end, collectible, customizable line of vehicles, right? Because your action figures need action vehicles. So we've developed this line of vehicles that you can customize. You can interchange the grills, the engines, the tires, the seats, and a simple paint job and rinse off can get you a completely different look. From West Coast to East Coast, you got different rims. That's all it takes. You know what I'm saying? A swap of rims. It'll come in a matte black base paint. And we're working with a variety of things right now. Like he mentioned, Bandito radio. So imagine you get your Bandito, or it's like a vehicle, right? What's the first thing you do? You jump in the car, you look for some tunes. So we started Bandito Radio, which is a streaming platform for independent artists. We have Ray Millie here on the corner who we play some of her music. We'll be playing some of the scores from Brutal Realm on Bandito Radio. And it's a place you can go and listen to and jam out while you're customizing your cards and doing your thing. And we're developing a world with our own characters. We're helping other artists create their lines of products like these victim heads. We are promoting magazines. We're helping David Vonner execute his ideas, helping other companies execute their ideas like the Nightwolf here. And I mean, yeah, that's much.
Yeah.
Kelly speaks some more on it.
So I think with Oddfrog Entertainment, kind of from the beginning, when Eddie and I met each other, we wanted to own what we created, and we both worked for the bigger companies and stuff like that. Where, you know, my contract with Mattel was this thick, and when I went home, if I drew something, they owned it, and it was really stifling as a creative person to kind of work in that environment. Even though it's fun and even though it's all great properties, you still want to do your own thing as a creative. And what I've always loved and what me and Eddie kind of thought about from the beginning as creating an independent toy company is like, we've been to design school, we worked with the bigger companies, we kind of understand manufacturing and are learning more all the time, but like, what does it look like to be a toy company that has kind of the Image Comics model, where we want to bring people in that have great ideas and we want to help, you know, further that idea. So, you know, we don't want to own your property. We have our own ideas that we want to do and we want to put that out there. But if we can help other creatives come in under that kind of model where you don't have to sell your soul to build your thing, and we can benefit from it as well too, maybe with a licensing agreement. Maybe we build your toys for 2 years and then you go to Netflix or whatever you want to do. We don't want to own your idea, we want to own our idea, and we know how to get things made. So that's kind of been the driving force for what the idea of Oddfrog Entertainment is. And then again, going back to like Bandito Radio and kind of creating a wider world. We were thinking about this the other day, and it's like, back in the day, Disney had to build you a land to go to. We think with technology and just thinking differently, we can put that land in your head and in your living room where, so for me, when I'm up late and I'm sculpting on something or I'm drawing the comic book, I want to be listening to something. You know, back in the day, it used to be Art Bell, or it used to be something that I would use to kind of fuel that creativity and stay up and have fun working late. And we're like, let's build a radio station and let's encompass all those kind of things and serve the creative person, and then also open that up to be able to have things produced. Like if you're a serious player and you have a really, really good idea, we want to help you make it, and we don't want to own it. Yes, we do want to have some kind of deal with you where if we're going to put all this work into what you're doing, we want to license it for as long as we can or whatever's been mutually beneficial, but help the people that have good ideas get the ideas to market. And I think that's the biggest thing behind Oddfrog, but the best way to do that is to build our own stuff, show what we can do as far as execution and development, and really open ourselves up to other creative individuals that want to build something. I remember when I was a kid, I had all these ideas and there's just no way to get them done. And even when you get into the toy industry, there's no way to get them done if you don't know somebody. And then we are fortunate enough to know someone and know people and know how to get this stuff done. And if I would have had that when I was a 15-year-old kid reading how to draw comics the Marvel way, I would have stopped everything I'm doing and focused on that. And you know, toy photography for us is just that extension of play that you don't get to do anymore. When I was a kid, I spent 6 hours setting up my toys and 2 hours playing with them. So toy photography for me was, and Eddie was like, that's what we want to do. That's the play for people of our generation now. And we just wanted to service that. And when you're going to do something with toy photography, I think the detail is what matters. And if you've been in a situation where you've made products before, you know certain things about what kind of details can go in and what are possible, what are achievable. And I think, you know, if you're on the outside looking in, you don't know what all those things are, and we can help with that kind of stuff. So yes, we want to build our own lines and build our own worlds and share our creativity with people, but we also know there's people out there that are like us that want to do their ideas and don't necessarily know how to get it done. And we've spent the last 10 years trying to figure out that mystery and that process so that we can, you know, first of all, get our own things done. But
Be
why
a
not?
service to the community.
Yeah, why not? If it's a good idea, it should live and breathe, and that's kind of what, you know, we feel
Like Uru Toys, you know?
the main vision of Oddfrog is kind of like a creator-owned, independent kind of thing, and not a collective necessarily, but like we have Uru Toys here, who we kind of realized at a certain point we're doing the same thing at the same time. So we wanted a customizable modular vehicle that you didn't have to buy twice. You could order parts and make it your own. And then that turned into like, oh wow, you know, at some point we're gonna notice that every Bandito on Instagram is different looking than the other one. And then we saw Marcelo here from Uru, you know, as a kind of a simultaneously evolution, we were doing the same thing. And, you know, we had kind of coined the term action vehicle because it just made sense. And we're like, oh, it's an action vehicle. It's original, it's customizable, and it's modular. And we're like, you know, do you mind if we kind of get together and call it an action vehicle? And he was super on board, and we were super on board to have him with it. And it's kind of, for me, it's kind of proof of function as to what the experiment of Oddfrog is, which is to bring other creative people in with a good idea. And like, maybe you need manufacturing. Maybe you need 3D modeling. I don't know. We want to be able to help you with that, and in whatever way we can. So, yeah.
Better said than I did.
I don't know about that. You've been quite the salesman all day.
I can do that, but yeah, you can tell the story.
But then there's the extra layer of Bandito radio. So, you know, like Kelly was saying, like, you know, it's like playing Grand Theft Auto when you commandeer a car and you listen to the underground radio stations in the car. So, you know, it was like, man, this car needs to have music. It needs to have its own life. It needs to have some life. So, you know, it's really the first collectible that actually has its own streaming service. You know, and Bandito Radio is more than just music. You know, it's really quality music done by independent artists such as Ray Millie on the end, and there's
Southern
also
Scars, you should check them
there's
out.
also Southern Scars on there, and we have an eclectic mix of music. It's hip hop, it's metal, it's punk, it's country, it's electronic, it's everything. It's orchestral compositions. You know, it's everything.
It's helping you develop that world. You know that when you're playing with your dioramas and taking pictures, you can turn it on and start streaming and just get lost in the world.
Lost in it. But also there's other forms of entertainment. You know, there's
Bandito Drive-In Nitro Theater.
showing, you know, real old school, you know, public domain films and independent films. We got Myra's More of Midnight Madness, which is you know, horror, sci-fi, fantasy, audio dramas like, you know, Dracula, Frankenstein, World of Worlds.
All free domain.
All free and done by new artists and everything. We have Mike's Joke Junction.
Mike's Joke Junction.
So it's like all comedy. So it's like, it's going to be, and also we have Action Figure Frequencies, which is one of our podcasts. We're gonna have the Purple Gang Gang on there as well.
Sir.
So excited about that, you guys. That's really cool.
So it's gonna be 24 hours of continuous streaming entertainment on Bandito Radio that is at its core, you know, focused on toys and toy photography and our community and our culture.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the music
everything that we
is
love.
even like talking about toy photography. We just got Arson Fist, and he came on to, he put his music on the latest block we've released, and he's talking about toy photography and setting up his shots and being frustrated.
Believe it or not, we play some of Shardavis Prime's music on
Yeah.
there as well.
Got
He's on
Shardavis
there.
Prime
Yeah,
on
we've had
there.
all kinds of people.
I mean, it's been amazing. And also, too, with Ray Millie on the end, I mean, she's from Las Vegas, a very, very dope rising artist, and we're actually going to make an action figure of her along with Malone, Advent Comics, which is an independent comic book publisher. She's going to be introduced as an action figure with her own Bandito. And, you know, that's a pinup of her done by Nelson Asasio, who worked on Art Asylum back in the day, worked on Marvel statues, DC statues, you know, and we're bringing it all to life and bringing it all together.
I think the thing too with, you know, when we were brainstorming about the car, and you know, Eddie and I had been working on this for a couple years already, as many of you may even know. And then David comes in and just injected this freshness into our brainstorming session. He's like, you know, we're talking one day and then we come back the next day and he's like, you know what you need when you get in your car? You need a radio, you want music. And we had thought about putting speakers in it and stuff, but you know, at Mattel, when you do that stuff, you learn that it never sounds like you want it to.
Or in toy photography, you can't hear the sound.
Right. And so for us, it was like, well, let's just do the platforms where you already have all this kind of stuff that people go to, and we'll make it a full-on thing. And then while you're being creative with the car, you can turn it on and fully immerse yourself in this world. So for me, it's kind of like I said, bringing the Disneyland into your living room and letting you further immerse yourself, giving you an arena to further immerse yourself in the hobby. And I kind of tell the story sometimes, like with my brother-in-law, we were working together back in the, I don't know, early 2000s, and Diablo 2 came out. And like, we were just like, all we wanted to talk about was Diablo 2 and what do we think it could do? And we had to go to work. So you go to work, if we had Bandito Radio where we could keep hearing about what our passion is, we would have listened to it. And you know, that's part of the idea too, is that you can take it with you and you can further immerse yourself in your hobby.
Gotten to the level that, like, imagine in the comics, say the bank gets robbed or something, you'll have a news report on Bandito Radio correlating that bank to get robbed in the latest issue of Southside. But so the Bandito is actually going to be in the next issue of Southside from Advent Comics. It kind of becomes like his ride, his Batmobile. David Bonner is going to be in the magazine. Myself and Kelly, we were going to be like the garage.
I'm the handsome one.
Yeah, the 112 garage will be in the next issue. It's going to be kind of like his spot, and you know what I'm saying? So it's immerse yourself in that world, and yeah, like I said earlier, you're playing with the Brutal Realm figures, you're setting them up, you're taking pictures, listening to Bandito Radio, the score comes on, and now your attitude changes. Now you're in the world, you know, like, and I mean, with David Vaughn on board, I mean, they were saying the sky's the limit, and it is, man. And we're just glad to be here, part of the team, and yeah, I mean, Marcelo can speak on his end, and we're just trying to help him out, execute his ideas, and
help each other out.
The main thing is that, you know, I guess with my experience in the toy industry is that you really don't want to have a one-trick pony, you know, which is kind of like where everything is. It's like you got your action figures and you just pose them out. You have your vehicles and you just roll them around or just whatever. But for me, I've always viewed like the photographers, you know, along with the collectors, you know, along with the customizers, like they're all part of a different mix that adds to the sum total of everything, you know? So it's like, why not cater to each and every party of the action figure world and not just try to shoehorn everything into one area? You know, like for me, I always kind of hated the kid versus collector thing. You know, I kind of figured that if you do something cool, it's going to be universal for everyone. Everyone will get on board. And with that, we can be able to, you know, rope in different ideas to help push the product or push the community forward so we can have all these different, you know, different intersections. Or I love connecting the dots, even where it may not seem as though any connection could land or be. Let's really think outside the box and find the connection, see what we can do to make not only the product better, but the overall experience better. So you'll come back and it creates like a halo effect. Like, you know, it kind of encompasses everything. You'll repeat customer or repeat consumer, but also too, you're part of the community more than just purchasing it. You know, you're actually in the community. You can talk about it. You can play about it. You can listen to your music about it. Like this, no other collectible has its own streaming service. So it's like when you're listening to you're immersed in the collectible soundtrack. You know, it's like for collectors by collectors. You know, like Brutal Realm, like what they're doing with the articulation and the type of you know, aesthetic that these characters have is like, this is what He-Man should be. You know, this is what it should have been. You know, we're from the realm. Like, these are the new take on these classic horror characters. Like, man, they look so creepy and dope. So it's like, why not push it forward, but also to find all these little fun features, how we can intersect and get to see, you know, all these other, you know, different programs or, you know, different marketing hooks. But, you know, we can, you know, make it an overall better experience than just like buying and selling and trading the figure. Like, let's really make it more than that. you know, so you're really in it, you know, so.
For the culture.
It's for the culture, and I've just been very privileged and honored to be able to work with these guys. You know, each one of them have brought their creative force to the table, and it's, you know, and I've worked for almost all the major toy companies, and I can honestly say that each and every one of these guys, you know, bring as much creative talent and flair as any, you know, toy company or designer in those toy companies. Actually, me and Kelly, we worked together at Mattel. You know, that's where we met, and we just had, like, looking at two ships in the night, we saw each other, and immediately we started talking about, like, any and everything cool in toy. And actually, the team that Kelly worked on was supposed to be like a special group of, a special small group of designers and marketers and packaging people, where they do all these out-of-the-box things, and it kind of like imploded on itself. Not because of the talent, but because of
After I left, I just
Right.
want to make that
But
clear.
it had nothing to do with the
Punctuation
talent.
point on
It had
that.
nothing to do with the talent, but it had everything to do with the company. You know, and it's like no toy starts off bad. It's like a death by paper cuts. And I'm telling you, like, you know, there's so many cool ideas that could come out of some of these companies, but you know, once, you know, they have to meet certain metrics, or when senior management gets involved who are never in the room or don't know the brand, and they start making decisions, this is when things start to derail. So my thing is, let me help support these guys as best as I can with the experience that I have. Let them do their thing, be a part of the infrastructure, but then back up and let them do everything to make their brand and their products the best that they can be. You know, so it's been a fun journey. We're gonna bring you more. You know, but like we're gonna be doing more. Like actually, you know, we're working with the Action Figure Frequencies team there, and they're part of the Toy Box Chronicle crew.
Yeah, and SKN Network.
Yeah. So and they've been a viable help. So we're going to partner with them, and actually also launch, you know, their own independent line. You know, Skull and Bones, and it's going to be super dope. So
You guys want to get up here? You got it ready?
yeah. Come on.
So yeah, under Oddfrog, right, we're trying to help all sorts of independent artists. We have some heads here. We can probably get questions later, but all sorts of stuff. We'll let you see this, man. If you can get it rolling, or you can talk about Skull and Bones, man. Because the audio, play the track.
Yeah, we're getting it.
Okay.
But it's cool because when you look at everything here, each one is different. Each one caters to a particular, you know, segment of the collector community and everything. And here we go.
So
You
this
got
is
the
track.
screen.
This is the track to Skull and Bones. It's a new line.
I don't know if the audio works.
Oh,
But we can
it
see.
does. So check it out.
There you go. Yeah, it works.
Vault 9 under Oddfrog Entertainment collaboration.
There are legends that roam the seven seas. Introducing a new line of highly detailed 1/12 scale action figures and creatures. 7 pirate factions clash for dominance over the seven seas. And the dark secrets lurking beneath the waves. Treasure and glory await, but so do curses, monsters, and something far more sinister. Set sail for adventure. Face the unknown. Skull and Bones, Legends of the Seven Seas.
I don't know if you guys got to see it, maybe you did, but you saw like a little bit of a creature called Cthulhu in there. And Cthulhu, as you see here, he's going to be kind of showing up in different facets all over the place. Like, he's one of my favorite characters. He's super dope and super cool, and we're going to have him kind of float around in all these different kind of, you know, facets and methods within, you know, their line. So it's going to be pretty dope, pretty cool.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we're excited. It's one of those things, you know, we've talked about it a lot. Bonner's very big on building that community, and Oddfrog is very big on like getting things out there and getting things done without having to own the licensing. So if you think about your project, the worst feeling is releasing something and knowing that someone else owns it. And so this is kind of a collaboration. Vault 9 is the group that we're with that owns SKN and all the podcasts. We've been working on this project for about a year and a half before we felt like we were comfortable enough to like present anything about it. But if you think about growing up, we've all been on Pirates of the Caribbean. We all know about, you know, Disney's made that very relevant. And so we thought, what better way than bringing and reliving our childhood than doing a pirate line. And so the pirate line, it is very highly articulated. You could put it in the same category with like Mythic Legions and Hot Toys, but it's 1/12 scale. There are going to be vehicles and big bads, and it's a entire world that we have currently in production. We're working on the graphic novel that's being produced right now. We have the artwork being done on there. Kelly is actually going to be our first made sculptor of all seven of the captains. So
Because I don't have enough to do right now.
Yeah. So it's very much a project of team and organization, and we want it to be the first run of an entire group coming together to create something that we can all live in and all live in that fantasy. So there's a lot more to come. You can go to legendsofthesevenseas.com right now, sign up for the newsletter, and as we get more information, you'll find that out through that website, as well as the Discord that was just recently built just for this. We want to build that community. It's gonna be great. I know we're.
The ideas we have for these vehicles, like, I wish I could say more what I want, but I mean, it's oh my God, mind blowing.
And don't forget, everybody subscribe to the Shadow Notes Network, Shadow with me, Shadow Notes Network. You can see all the great products and all the great things that we do. David Bonner's been a guest on Toy Box Chronicles. Kelly and Eddie from Oddfrog have been on as well. We do 2 live streams a week, Wednesdays and Fridays, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at Shadow Notes Network with an E. Go back, Ted.
Yeah.
So, you heard from us. I know you want to hear from the First Lady of Bandito Radio. Ray Millie, I don't know if you have anything to say or want to introduce yourself.
Not too much, just really exciting with the Bandito. The station is actually, if you actually really take a listen to the station and the segments that actually come on, it's pretty dope. Definitely a variety of different sounds, different music. Got some commentary, some funny stuff in there. So it's definitely for everyone. It's cool. So just happy to be a part.
Thank you.
So, yeah, you guys
We're
are
happy
doing a
to
great
have
job.
you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And she's a crazy gamer too. Not only does she sing well, but she's a totally different animal when she's singing and everything.
Wait till her Bandito comes out.
When
Her
she's
action
playing
figure.
these video games, man, she's a warlord.
Yeah, I play a lot of video games as well too. So.
It's so cool to have like this whole eclectic mix, you know, and you know, it's just, like, again, I'm very fortunate and honored to work with these guys. You know, I guess maybe it's the only child in me. I always wanted to have a big, you know, siblings and brothers and everything and sisters. So now we kind of have this, and we'll be doing some really, really cool things and bringing a whole new flair and uniqueness to the collector community, whether it's talking about it, playing with it, showcasing it, customizing it, you know, taking pictures of it, listen to music. You know, we intend to impact a little bit of everything and change the game accordingly. So this is fun. I mean, thank you so much, man. If you guys have any questions, we are opening the floor for Q&A.
Perfect. Questions for everybody. So, will there be the Carlos Espino scent pack in the From the Realm figures? Everybody wants to know this. You were like tapping me on the shoulder, like smelling. This guy's nobody smells
I've
better
been
than
rubbing
Carlos
up against them
Espino.
all
Yeah.
Okay, that's gonna be an option.
Scent pack.
We can
Is that what you asked
we
about?
can put
The scent
some
packs. We need to
scent
call us a
on
Spino
the
scent
package.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's gonna be a little expensive.
Little
I mean,
scratch and sniff.
to put it on the plastic. I mean, Ace can help us with the plastic scent maybe.
It's not expensive, but it's troublesome because the scent that you want might not be available in stock. And to actually make a scent is not easy, as you know.
Yeah.
Right? Making a scent is a lot of chemicals.
This is
So I
pheromones,
may
yeah.
spray my cologne on the packaging when I'm
There you
like
go.
shipping, like I'm gonna, that's what I'm
Sign
gonna
it.
do.
That's
That's
what
what
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
do.
Swapped out with patchouli.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah. Please don't.
Yeah.
As you launch.
I knew it, I knew it.
But Ace is right.
I knew that was coming.
I once tried to make my Marvel figures from like an old comic book, and it was like a combination of old grass and some linen and all this other stuff, and it was
Science,
just,
man,
it was
science.
too much for the Chem lab to handle.
That's genius.
You can actually help me out. You have my cologne too.
Oh, you know I do. Like, yeah,
I
absolutely.
can give you the
Hell no, I'm hoarding that. That's just
There's
that.
a small Carlos
Yeah,
synth
exactly.
club between him and Curtis.
Yeah, exactly.
They're growing. They're accepting new members.
You
Yes.
should make feet where you can hang these things upside down. That'd be fun.
Ooh.
Like that.
Well, that's a great idea. We actually have the Facebook group, and the Facebook group we have like some polls and stuff like that. So we give the opportunity to the collectors
Yeah.
to give us ideas. That's mainly the one of the main reasons because we opened the Facebook group,
Nice.
because we have some polls there and some ideas. We encourage everybody to go there, join the group, throw some ideas, post your stuff there, and give us ideas. Because at the end of the day, the fact that we are a toy company doesn't mean that we know everything, right? And we're new at this. Like we're like just experimenting with this. We have all the good will and all the love for the community, for the toys. I mean, I'm a collector myself. And the idea is to do everything with all we have, like inside of like as collectors, right? So at the end of the day, having ideas from everybody else is amazing, and it gives people the opportunity to participate. Of course, at the end of the day, you may not please everybody, as always, because I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is, right? But trust me, we want everybody to participate and be part of the community of From the Realm. That's the main goal, that's the main idea, and that's what we're doing. So yeah, we're really excited so far, and I need to admit this, like I was telling Van, Jordan, and everybody, like Ken help us out also, like everybody, all these big companies going to our booth, like, listen, I have Kevin Dallas, right? Kevin Dallas who just came to our booth, and Kevin is, to me, I'm a huge fan of Kevin, my whole life. So Kevin just came and he's like, man, that's insane what you guys are doing. For him to say that to me, or Jeremy Girard, like coming from Four Horsemen and say that, CB going to our booth and say like, hey, listen, I like what I'm seeing so far. I mean, the people from Monster Force, BBTS, they came to our booth also. I mean, having Ace next to us, like telling me like, hey, you're going the right path. I mean, Jason from AWOC, all those guys, they're not just
From Brittle Realm.
James from Brittle Realm, Jason from Brittle Realm.
The whole Oddfrog.
Having people, I mean, you know, like them, David, with all the, I mean, that's kind of like a blessing, right? Like having people that we follow since we were like early collectors and coming to you and saying that you're doing something good, to me is humbling and inspiring. Like, and that's one of the things that I always say to everybody. I mean, I own a martial arts school, and when I teach my students, and they always came to me and say like, oh, I can't do that. Don't say that. Just go, try, and you will see that you're gonna achieve what you're looking for. It's everything about sacrifice and will. If you're able to sacrifice stuff in life, you're gonna achieve your goals. Like, otherwise you're gonna be like everybody else that stay there, sitting there, comfortable, doing nothing, right? So, I know we're gonna fail. I mean, people fail, but you need to have that will to recover from those fails and keep going forward and achieve your goals. That's pretty much what it is. Everything in life, not just in the toy community, but everything in life.
And you know, it's funny, like
powerful.
each and every one of these people up here have that same mentality. You know, they all could have sat back and was just, I can't do that. I'll never get this off the ground. But they did it and they tried, you know, and sometimes the hardest thing to do is actually reaching out and asking for help, you know, and each one of these people has done that, and brought their ideas to fruition, including, you know, Dave Wade with Odious. I mean, this is an idea that he just had in his head, and the community took it and just ran with it, you know, and being fortunate enough to help him bring this to fruition, it's been an amazing journey. But you know, it's that same mentality that Carlos is saying. It's like, you know, give yourself the opportunity to try, and put your best foot forward, and you never know what dreams actually may come true. You know, you can do it. Like James and Jason didn't even know each other. They didn't even know each other, only through the community. And they came together and created this fantastic line. You know, Kelly and Eddie, they went to school together, you know, at different points in their life. And they came together, man, like, hey, man, let's do something that's gonna embody us, you know, it's just an amazing experience for how everyone just never gave up on their dream, never gave up on their vision, and collaborated in very unique ways to make their dreams come to fruition. So for me, like, again, it's just an honor to be, you know, along for the ride with these guys, you know, because I know I'm one of the biggest dreamers there are, you know, so it's just fun to actually, you know, be in witnessing all of that, you know. It's just an amazing thing, So, yeah.
Guest of honor, guys.
I have a question.
Yes,
What's
yes.
the price range?
Well, the price range, we're actually right now on it. Like, we're talking to factories because that's one of the main things you need to be careful. And I always advise, I mean, that now that I'm into this, like, it's not that easy. And as collectors, sometimes we fall into that stage where we're like, oh, that's too expensive, or that's whatever. You know, like, you don't know till you're there. You know, and making action figures, making toys is not that easy. I mean, yes, everybody can do it, you know, but it requires a lot of sacrifice, like I said, a lot of money also, especially if you don't know the right people. I mean, and actually, last night, Jeremy Girard was telling me something that is like really like a true, like, he was like, listen, don't listen to all the noises around. Sometimes you need to pay attention to the people that really care about you on the toy community, people that have more experience than you. Listen to them. Because everybody is gonna have an opinion, and everybody's gonna tell you something different. Just follow your instinct and listen to the people that really care about you. Like, try to minimize that noise around you, because otherwise you're gonna make a lot of mistakes. So that's the idea. Try to surround yourself around people that really have the knowledge. If you don't have the knowledge, ask for help. Sometimes it's the best way so you don't make mistakes. I know some people say, oh, I like to make my own mistakes and stuff like that, but hey, it's better not to make mistakes, right? And talk to the people that already make those mistakes and fix them, so they can give you good advice about everything else. Mm-hmm.
And I made every mistake you could possibly think of in this industry. I pissed off folks, that made folks happy, you know, but, you know, that experience, man, that journey helped me bring an idea and a vision that can, you know, bring forth a path that these guys can avoid, you know, yeah, so it's really, really fun, and those are some very, very true words, you know, and so with that, it's like, you know, we just put our best foot forward and offer the best while delivering the best, you know, so it's really, really fun.
Are any of you guys using silicone molds for prototyping?
We tried, we've experimented quite a bit with it, but it's mostly 3D printed. But on a smaller scale, when we're talking to you, like, it's, you know, that's probably why you asked the question. But as far as us and silicone molds, no. I'm not sure about the brutal round.
Because of the timing aspect of it, right? Like, now with the way that, you know, technology is, we can go from digital to food. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there are guys that still do that, you know, but it's also, you know, we try, when speed becomes the factor as well, you know, and you know, we could be able to go straight from digital and hand deliver that to the factory, then they can begin the process of creating the tools for everything.
Yeah. Before Brutal Rome, is the reason why Jason and I met each other. I tried to make my own action figures with silicone and rubber and with wire armature on the inside. And I got a lot of failed attempts at getting the mold just right. But this process, you get a much more, realistic and professional results. But it's fun to play. Wow, I mean, whatever gets you to your goal. Like he said, don't listen.
For like the connect, I've ran into the stuff I've worked on has been too small, but I've recast stuff in the scale that you guys are doing in resin, and I have perfect function.
Yeah.
And the 3D prototypes, from my end, I can't do it, it's too small, but what you guys are working on, you could.
We were looking at it for the victims' heads.
Yeah.
Because we thought it would be cheaper to
Efficient,
reproduce that way.
Soft mold,
But, with all the detail and the undercuts in the mouth, it just it didn't work when we tried to do it. And now with 12K resin printers and stuff, we're let's just tell people their prints so that's out of the way. And just go with the print, because at 12K you can't even see the lines in the slicing and stuff anymore.
Are you using a flexible resin?
We are mixing Ceratec with Tenacious. Yeah.
We're doing the same
Yeah.
I still feel like there's got to be some viability.
We
for
should talk. We
silicone
should talk.
resin. The silicone resin, I think it's crazy that it's all but lost in the space. It's going away. And our prototypes are getting worse, a little bit.
We're working on some
Things
stuff.
looked more functional at showcasings 10 years ago, and I think it's because of the silicone molds.
Could I give
I don't know.
input? So silicone molds are generically used for making G kits back in the day.
Yeah.
So if you have a master and you want to replicate your master, you're not going to sculpt another one. So you want to replicate it. So a simple silicone mold, just pour in the resin and you duplicate a few pieces. And a silicone mold has a lifespan of about 20 or 30 pours. And you can make a new mold. So when you make silicone molds, the reason for doing that is because you are trying to make a few multiples of your prototype versus.
That's what I'm saying. Why aren't we seeing these? Why aren't
Pouring
we using silicone, guys? Call Smooth On. Hey, everybody, call Smooth On.
Right.
If you like what we're doing, call Smooth On.
More importantly, if you're trying to do soft parts,
Yeah.
you use silicone molds because you can't print soft parts.
Yeah, for sure. And or if you are printing, I don't know, I haven't tried with hard enough materials on 3D printers, but they're all fragile from what I find.
Yeah.
I work within resins that I can't snap. I would hurt myself before I could break the stuff.
Yeah.
And I've recast Mezco joinery in resin, and that stuff doesn't break. I would not attempt to put together a.
And you're using the Tenacious?
No, this is resin. This is
right.
a 65D and
Smooth on
45D.
Okay, yeah, that's what
those products.
we got the
can be
Smooth On
really
too.
well.
There's also a
packaged.
learning curve with that stuff.
Yeah.
3D printers these days have gotten to the point where even an idiot, I'm a huge idiot, but I still can't do it. But can just print, you get the files. A lot of the designs
No,
are
man,
already.
I'm smart and this shit's hard.
I mean, so where I
it's a
work, we
science
have
in of
form
itself.
labs, and the form labs are just workhorses. They're gonna pump out whatever you put in there. You don't change the resin, you don't change the settings, and it's gonna pump out whatever you put in it every time.
Yeah.
If you're working with an Elegoo at home, then you're really more hands-on, and you have to look at every single, if the
Setting.
color changes of the resin, there's
Right.
different settings. And that, I've often said, it's like, we almost
Yeah,
need a
that's
Steve
the
Jobs
hell
to
of
come
living
into
it.
the 3D printing world and just make a spoon. You know what I mean? Like,
Simplify.
make it work, like Bamboo Labs or something like that. That's, I
Yeah.
think, the future and that kind of thing, where you can just rely on it to pump it out and not be messing around with all the.
Another
Setting,
thing I've run into is, I think with very much intention, because they don't want us making our own shit. A lot of these resins do not work with silicones. A lot of these resins off of these printers, you'll encounter cure inhibition. And that feels so intentional, because on the commercial level printers, that would be unacceptable. I don't think it's an accident that silicone can't work with this stuff. It's deeply intentional. Like, you've got to jump hoops to be able to work with
Make it
silicone
work,
resin. And it feels intentional. It feels like at the consumer level printers, the
Big
resins that
calendar
they're
out again.
presenting to you are like made to not be able to be replicated. It doesn't feel like an
Makes sense,
accident.
you gotta keep buying more resin if it, like you said, it's breaking, if it's not.
Yeah, but at a commercial level, I don't think that'd be acceptable. How insane would it be if this device meant for prototyping wasn't able to be used to make soft molds?
Right.
That's
But see, then it's also
preposterous.
too, you gotta think about that these items are gonna be products too. You know, so once it goes to the factory, they're gonna, do their own methods and everything. And so all those silicone molds is gonna take up space,
I
and
mean,
it's
at
like.
the end of it, I guess, if you don't want to throw them away, but to get across the line a prototype that works, that can really show off, like, here's what the hell we're doing. Like, these look awesome, but I'm sure that parts have snapped, because that's what the hell
How
happened.
dare you, sir? This
They
is from the
look-
realm.
They
This
look
is
awesome,
perfect.
but I know that that's not the fully put together thing you wanna have out here, and
Right,
it's because we're
but
working
at the same
in the
time,
right materials,
that's
I guess.
that's not the manufactured product, right?
Yeah.
So that this is every prototype is going to be prone to snapping or something is going to happen.
And we don't need it to last that long.
Right,
you know?
so, and you're not gonna handle a prototype the way you're gonna handle a tool product.
True,
You're
I
just
guess.
not.
If we were never getting into the production stage, we would absolutely want to create a longer lasting prototype. But because we're not trying to create just, a 3D printed thing and actually get it manufactured, it's like, yeah, it breaks, but we can get it out quickly, we can, fix things and get over to the stage where we need to. But I know that this is supposed to end at 3, I'm gonna make sure.
Well, and I
everyone's
feel like we gotta
questions-
give a couple minutes to our friend from Uru Toys
Oh,
here. Who's
yeah.
done such an amazing
Absolutely.
presentation with the
Absolutely.
Night Wolf. Why don't you tell us about the Night Wolf and what it's like making toys in Uruguay? Because it's really easy in the United States. I can only imagine, it's not easy. But in Uruguay, it's gotta be harder, so. Who are you?
Well, my name is Marcelo. I am from Uruguay, South America. It's a small country between Argentina and Brazil.
It's my favorite.
Your favorite?
Yeah, absolutely.
You like soccer?
Down.
Okay, so 6 years ago, I started with this guy, the Night Wolf. Originally it was in 1/18 scale, and then I decided to make it in 1/12. What I was wondering about is, I am a big G.I. Joe fan, and the vehicles that G.I. Joe were making were too small for me. I say, look, the van, 2 guys inside. Army Striker, 2 guys inside. Despite of the APC, you can put a lot of guys in there. Nobody gets more than 4. So why don't make him a bigger one, meaner one, intimidating one, and here's the night. 6 people inside, 4 people on the back. You can deploy as an army inside of it. And it's also like the concept that they told me is a vehicle and also some kind of diorama, because you can display all your collection around it, and that was the main idea. Also the modular stuff, that was when Kelly told me, dude, you are doing the same thing that we are doing here. Why don't you join us and try to do it military way, civilian way, but the same concept. Like they say, the 2 sides of the same coin.
Yeah, it was like a simultaneous evolution, really, and first of all, he was such a nice dude. We're just like, oh man.
Don't
And
lie, man.
yeah, we're gonna fight each other right after this. But, Eddie and I along the way thought of this term action vehicles. Action figures need action vehicles. And so what we came up with is like, well, what is an action vehicle? It's customizable, it's original, and it's modular to some degree where you can make it your own. And when we saw what he was doing, we just wanted to kind of extend that invitation of a title to put on your brand of action vehicle, because it's literally the same thing we're doing, just different.
And if you consider about limitations and how difficult it is, my first model was made in cardboard. So because I have no other stuff to work with.
That's how it used to be done. Anyway.
Old school, man.
That's old school. That's how it
And
used
that
to
was
be
so interesting to me about Marcelo and Uru Toys, is like Eddie and I have struggled here in the States, living in LA, where all the toy companies are, where you can do everything, you have access to everything. And here's Marcelo doing something that's just right on point with what we're trying to do, but he's in Uruguay with none of those kind of benefits and stuff like that. So it was fascinating to me to see that there was other people out there that are just willing to keep walking that distance to get to the end result. And yeah, it was too inspiring not to like be friends.
Yo, I basically die on 911. On the other side, yeah, this is Kelly. How can I help you?
Always be close.
And this, of course, is going to be a Kickstarter this summer. Hope you can all support us. And after you ask it, if you support the Kickstarter, I will personally customize it and make it one purple for you.
Oh. Done. I can go ahead and attest that you just sold some right now. Have it on good authority.
It's from both of us.
Yep.
Make sure you stuff it with these ducks that he's doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Where he opens it up and it all just falls out. I got a few to give.
Anybody else have any questions? Anything? Any comments?
I think the lady, what? Why am I so sexy? What? I'm sorry, ma'am. That's a natural ability. Sorry. Sorry. She was just asking.
Has anybody thought, like, is there manufacturing capability in South America?
Yep.
To the level
We got
that, like, yeah? You say you're based out of South America. Had you looked around the scene, like,
Well, in fact, there's a factory in Colombia.
Yeah, we have a partner down in Colombia.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool. Yeah, it was.
You know, actually, South America used to be, do a lot of manufacturing back in the day, like a lot of the large,
Masters of the Universe.
Masters, Castle Grayskull, Power Wheels,
Mexico,
vehicles and everything, used to be done in
Argentina.
Mexico. And actually, a lot of the larger 12-inch, a lot of kids like the 12-inch figures down there. So, South America was a big manufacturing hub. And actually, a lot of the Chinese engineers and everything will come down to South America to help kind of facilitate the factories and stuff like that. Now that, with everything that happened as far as like, trade and manufacturing, moving to certain areas of the country, that also left South America just like it left America. We used to have toy manufacturers here too, so, but now with the way that the world is shifting, with, especially with geopolitics and everything, now it's like certain regions of the world are the manufacturing hub, but I think it's slowly starting to come back, because it's a need, and also too, the factories are producing more than just toys. They're making baby bottles, car bumpers, and all kinds of shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now, like a lot of those, the needs to have those factories start to come back.
Yeah, one thing about the Colombian factory is that the owner is also a collector. So when you go and talk to him, he understands everything about how to make an action figure.
Yeah, they're really good crew.
It's not, you don't have to explain anything.
Between China and South America, it's just been like, man, it would like, I feel like this, like South America makes more sense, kinda, but like, I don't know, like with the tariffs and stuff, I don't know if those are gonna last, but do you guys think there's any chance anyone gets the crazy idea of like maybe here, or is that like?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a need.
I don't even want to talk about that right
It's
now.
definitely,
Oddfrog Entertainment.
Yeah.
But see, like now, like it's part of the vernacular now. Like tariffs has always existed.
Yeah.
You always have to deal with increase in manufacturing costs, like the cost of this. It's something we always had to deal with on top of licensing fees, like royalties and stuff. Like I was telling the guys, like when I worked for, at Hasbro and Marvel, our royalty was 25%. And that's just the royalty. So 25 cents is taken out of our dollar before we even start a thing, drawing anything, sculpting anything, whatever. 25 cents is already taken out. And then you gotta factor in all the other, fees that are increasing, material costs and everything like that. So, but there's also other, when you hear the term emerging markets and stuff, like India has manufacturing, Southeast Asia, there's factories in different parts of the world, but do they have the capability or the experience to be able to manufacture the type of products that we like to have? You know what I mean? That has the detail or that can stand up, or doesn't break, or the material doesn't turn colors and all that stuff. You know, so it's really about bringing those factories up too. But you know, when you talk about tariffs and everything, it's really about really catering to the need to have that stuff and building up the relations. One of the things I've been talking about really is that, you know, factories just don't miraculously pop up, but in our world, if we want to kind of have that, we have to have a combined effort to make that happen. Like, I was talking to a realtor today, and I'm like, man, we need to have a situation where we can get some land, you know, put an infrastructure on there and start building accordingly. It's just like building a sound stage or a movie set. Like, why not get different individuals with different experiences that actually plot out a plan, a business plan that actually make that happen, and something that we can all share, you know what I mean? And that can springboard into, you know, another thing and another thing, you know, or make even connections in Europe, you know, and Lego has a big facility, Mattel has tons of factories, Hasbro has tons of factories, so you can really start to make those connections and also apply that, but also start to build out the need to have these factories as well.
Yeah, I think if you're a creative person and you're into this, but you're also really into the business side of it, you're also looking creatively at what the future looks like for that kind of stuff, and it depends on what you want to manufacture too, right? Like big stuff, we're not going to be able to do that for a while. We don't even have a culture of manufacturing here anymore where you would have people that know how to set up that system. But I think if you can start small and creative and think outside the box, there's areas where that's gonna happen.
Yeah, I think the one thing about the toy community is that we're a pretty eclectic crowd, right? And I think that, you know, there's tons of people that collect stuff, but they also have different skills or different resources that can be brought to the table, where if we have that grand conversation and share that grand vision, then maybe we can do what the movie studios have done, or you know, a car company has done. Like, actually not only make consumer products, but make the way to make the consumer products. You know what I mean? And you know, it really takes really sharing that vision and having that, you know, starting that conversation and putting the right feet forward in order to make that happen. You know, it can be done. We just have to do it and find the ways to do it. And the means are out there.
If I may, two important components for manufacturing: cost of labor and the source of the materials.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, all these things are handmade. It's not like you can go into a flexible manufacturing system with no humans and you come it up like that, right? Yeah. Lego, you can do it because Lego are blocks just out of the tools, no humans involved. But all these things, the spray paint, the toning, the wash,
there's people doing
humans,
that.
right?
Yeah,
So where is the cheapest labor cost, right? And then the material, the plastics don't come from anywhere. It comes from a place where there's petroleum.
Right.
So that is in the east.
Yeah.
So you consider that. So there's all these things involved.
Yeah, I guess that's another question is, I do feel like there are a lot of, like, I'm endlessly like, how the fuck are they painting these things the way they are? And the answer more or less is, yeah, you'll never touch this paint. You're never getting close to this paint. This paint's never gonna touch your shores, right? Like, it's illegal, right? These chemicals aren't allowed. How different are the rules for South America, and what would be the barrier on the type of finish you could achieve if you're manufacturing in America if we can't get these paints, if you're barred from these chemicals?
That comes into play, the type of materials, like the chemicals that are used.
Soft vinyl.
You know, the labor, like, I mean, like, unions, speaking of like manual labor, you know, unions come into play in America, you know what I mean? And they cost you right out of everything. You know, so I think it has to be a really creative approach to be able to create a network of individuals and entities to make that happen, where we can, you know, really impact. You can only impact once something goes into a port and has to cross over to another land. There's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, the means of making a product, we can still try to find some unique ways to do that, whether it's by in another location, you know, building up infrastructures, having a better form of, like, we can even impact the other areas and not necessarily have stuff go on the boat, but like, you know, let's set up some retail, you know, opportunities in other countries and stuff like that. So there's definitely some thought behind getting around the whole tariff situation, but the real good thing is, with any problem, there's always an opportunity. And everyone is in the same boat. It affects the larger companies way more than it affects us. You know, so they're twisting their hair too, trying to figure this out, you know, and so I think that, you know, we can really do some creative ways to try to minimize the impact, but the impact is still gonna be there, you know?
The technology's there, it's just gonna take somebody going through the motions and doing the headache of working out all the bugs and starting small and.
Well, we gotta work on that teleporter machine.
Yeah, we need a replicator.
You know, we need a Manhattan project.
Come on, David.
I'm
Make it
working
happen.
on.
Make it happen.
David's playing the
man.
Star Trek chess, he doesn't
Yeah.
have time for the manufacturing.
That's true,
part.
yeah, there we go.
I'm working on a teleporter. I'm working with some Vulcans and some.
I knew it.
Yeah.
Teleporter confirmed here at Toylanta 2025.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be some shit if we?
It'll make it easier to get here, that's for
It
sure.
was easier to make toys by making the teleporter, just trust us.
Yeah.
We'll get it to you.
Any other questions?
Well, thank you guys.
Thanks, you guys.
Pick up the audience. We got audiences out there for sale. Pick them up.
Absolutely.
Purple Gang Gang. Big shout out to the panel as well as Brett Barton of Toylanta for putting on such an amazing show. Hope to see you at Toylanta next year.